Hey, everybody, welcome back to this series of the Power Hour, University of Michigan Entrepreneurs, the club up at U of M, and doing 12 interviews. They are amazing, Jordan. I am learning a ton. And I'm loving all of them. Think Community today, we have Jordan Shamir, and he is the founder of an AI company. We've been talking a lot about AI, but he's going to tell us all about Yofi AI. Finding your real customers and making sure that they're not a bot. All right, Jordan. So give us kind of the quick gist of the company, and then we're going to dive in.
Yeah, what we ended up seeing is, we were all massive sneakerheads and concert goers, and over the past couple of years, we've been able to see it's gone harder and harder to get your favorite products, especially limited supply products. Like, look at Taylor Swift and Ticketmaster and sneakers and the DOJ. And what we've been able to do is help understand who is real or not real while going through. So being able to prevent bots and making sure that these brands' best and loyal customers are able to actually be prioritized and get the product they want. But what we ended up doing is we realized that the problem was bigger than just the transactions. It was impacting the whole data stream downstream, right? So the amount of accounts that are being created, the amount of customers that I think I had to when I was forecasting inventory, sales, products, what marketing campaigns are working, understanding how are my click-through and open rates. What we ended up seeing is that all of that is being negatively impacted and skewed because everyone has multiple digital personas, whether you're a bot or whether I use my UMISH email to get additional discounts as along with my Gmail. So helping brands understand how many of those accounts are actually legitimate and real, and understanding how many unique customers they have versus just number of accounts.
Yeah. Let's talk about forecasting inventory, right? And understanding where to invest your marketing dollars, because what you're talking about, those are really, really critical things. And so how does a company like yours, I want you to go into a little bit more detail, really help you figure that out? Because here we're sitting, Q1 2023. So many things are evolving. People are in businesses, reevaluating what their indicators that they're looking at, how they're forecasting, what assumption sets they're using. And so really, they need to use as many vehicles as they can. How does Yofi AI kind of help them do that?
Yeah. So how we work is we're a graph machine learning model. So what we look at is we look at these patterns of similarities across the board, right? And one of the really easy ones that we're able to see is and what this allows us to do is see how likely are these accounts or these products related to each other. So we get these really nice clusters of individuals. One of the first things we end up seeing is that everyone has duplicate accounts on multiple brands, right? Like if I can get 10, 15% off, I'm going to. So what we do is we start mapping back those accounts to one individual. Okay, John, what's your primary account, right? Is it a Gmail? Is it a Yahoo? Is it a Hotmail? Okay, let's strip down the amount of accounts. So one, you're just sending less emails out. But using that same technology, what we're able to do is actually see a lot of pinpoint and kind of marketing from a perspective of a lot of brands just send out generic emails. That's Monday, Wednesday, Friday to almost everyone. But what we're able to see is, okay, people like John like this product X, right? How can we tailor that message and create a recommended customer segment and cohort to be able to target John with something meaningful? And all that stems back from having a clean and understanding data set. So we remove the bad actors, we remove the duplicate accounts and put them on a suppressed list. So you're actually making decisions based off your consumer. And one of our brands that we worked with, we were able to actually increase their email marketing sales by 16% last January compared to the January before. And that netted about $20,000 in additional sales in the month alone. So really nice. And we sent 50% less emails, which is cool.
That's cool. But let me ask you this. So when you were identifying that this was a business, how did you decide to jump into this world? Because it's correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me like there's other companies that do it. And so how did you say, okay, hey, these companies are doing it, we're going to do it this way. And by doing it this way, we're going to be able to grow market share, et cetera, et cetera. What was your forecast?
Yeah, I think for us, the nice thing that we had is one of our co-founders is an operator. So our co-founder used these different bot prevention tools or these different identity tools, from an operator's perspective. And what we were able to see is that just the concert tickets and the sneakers selling out, that's just the surface area. To the brands and to the businesses, the biggest one is the data aspect of it. And so far, we've been the only one kind of addressing this notion of how do we like fundamentally change the data, right? Because he was telling us that his provider and the brand he was working at, they fundamentally misforecast a large pair of shoes that takes 18
Yeah.
months ahead of time that they need a forecast. So they got a bunch of duds that no one wanted. And so that was kind of the big aha moment. And then we just thought about our lives as consumers and thinking about like, holy crap, like, yeah, we all have multiple personas. Like, you know, I even use
Yeah.
my iCloud when I use iPay. So it just all goes to a random email address. Like, how does this
Yeah.
all map back so brands can have a better understanding of their customers?
Yeah, it's so interesting. You know, I've been talking about this with a lot of the people in these in my Power Hour interviews with the with your club, which is your generation. And I talk about this all the time, Jordan. I'm a business coach and I work with solopreneurs to Fortune companies, and I'm always talking about how your generation. I always say, there's college kids trying to figure out the holes in your business model right now. They're going to find the one area that you're missing. And that seems to be a very common theme in everybody that I'm talking to. And I'm doing about 12 interviews within your group. And so take me from like, idea to recognizing this to now how you scale that. And just follow me for a minute. You scale the business with this concept, but then everybody else catches on. So then how do you continue to scale as they recognize that you just gave them what they're missing, right?
Yeah, I think it's a good question, right? So from the ideation phase, we were lucky, like I mentioned, one of my co-founders actually worked at a large brand and was able to see kind of the gaps in the difference, right? Like, hey, you know what? No one is looking at this approach. Then we all came back to Michigan over the summer and we just like kind of what we do in Power Hours, we just brainstorm ideas, right?
Yeah.
And so what we were able to see is this little niche and this little idea, and we took it as like a concept. And you know, candidly, we thought it would just be a tool, right? When we started 18 months ago, but it's kind of flourished more into a product. And kind of what we've been able to do is just over maturation over time is through our initial clients, right? We installed and they were like, hey, have you thought about doing this? Or have you thought about adding this and that? So we kind of did a lot of product led growth with our clients.
Yeah.
And what's been cool is we've gone to about 45 installs. We have our first paying clients that are all around the world. But I think the thing that provides us the immutability or the ability to scale even further, because like we see competitors are looking at our website and trying to understand what we're doing, is like beyond a really intimate understanding of the situation. I think for us is like the way that we're creating these machine learning models, they're not just generic, they're also individualized to these client environments, right? So when we start with an install, we have a generic model, but over time it gets normalized to their existing clients, how their clients interact, the products they sell, all these different metrics, right? And so I think for us, it's really, really hard to replace us. One, because we have a great operator and subject matter expert, but two, our model is completely normalized for these customer environments. So it's going to
Yeah.
take a while for people to come in and copy and paste because they're going to be starting at scratch where we're starting, you know, where we're already way further ahead.
Yeah. Let's talk about, you have some business partners, you come back to school, et cetera, et cetera. You're collaborating, the Power Hour, you're collaborating. Talk to me about the power of collaboration and just the synergy, the energy, and the ideas that come from the Power Hour.
Yeah, the Power Hour is great.
And
And
the
you know,
reason I say it is, I just want to just add one thing. You know, Think Community, the Power Hour was started by two of the guys that I interviewed, and they're moving into different campuses, and so if you know people who want to open one, this is what it does. Talk a little bit about what it is.
yeah, I mean, I highly recommend it to anyone. And what they've been able to do is just like unaffiliated with the universities, but they've been able to bring like-minded individuals that want to be entrepreneurs and that are kind of more iconoclastic together to go build, right? It doesn't matter what school you're in, it doesn't matter if you're an undergrad, graduate student, or anything in between. It's just a molding and collecting of minds, because I think there's been a fundamental switch around like I need to pay my dues. I need to go, you know, wait, or I got to go start a corporate life to be able to become an entrepreneur or anything along those lines. And that's been fundamentally like shifted, which is great to find a group of, you know, a cohort of friends and like members to be able to go do it together. And that's been massive for us. And like kind of what you said earlier, it takes a village. I think
Yeah.
one of the things that we've learned through our entrepreneurial journey is that like people actually want to help you a lot more than you think. in the notion of like, if I have a legitimate reason to go talk to someone and go ask them a question or go learn from their perspective, people are always open to it. And so for
Yeah.
us, like, it's kind of given me and our team kind of a fearlessness of like, go build something. And then if you can develop the credibility over time, right, people are going to trust you and you can really develop, and cultivate amazing relationships.
Yeah. It's great. It's great. I love what you're doing. Let's talk about AI for a minute. Chat GPT comes, November 30th and just, 1 million users in 5 days. I think it's up to over 100 million now. They're not even taking new subscribers. I just upgraded this weekend. They have now Chat GPT Plus for $20 a month. What's AI? So here we are, 2023 Q1. Where's AI going to be in 3 years? How's it going to evolve, and what's it going to do to companies?
Yeah, I mean, I think the fun thing is like, especially if unsupervised AI, you don't know how it's going to evolve. So there's always an element of unknown. But I
Yeah.
think, the best thing is going to be just automation and insights, right? Like people can only scale to a certain sense of, right? Like, we get too busy, we have anxiety, we have different things in our lives that are impacting what we're doing. What I view AI moving to in the future is becoming a recommendation engine, right? I think about this for like analytics, and this is something we're going through in our own, is like dashboards still require interpretation. We actually need to move into recommendations. So, hey, I
Yeah.
found this in your data. Here, go implement, rather than here's a dashboard in a way that you still need to think about it, right? AI is becoming a design partner, a co-writing partner, a
Correct.
recommendation engine more so than like a dashboard. And I think
Yeah.
that's going to be the biggest thing, is just the amount of time, and the amount of time it frees up and things that you can do is going to be immense.
Yeah, I agree. I just interviewed a buddy of mine, was the former head of innovation at PayPal, and I just interviewed him about 2 weeks ago because he left PayPal. Now he started basically an AI company. It's on my
Mhm.
homepage if you want to check it out. It's awesome. And one of the things he talked about was, which I've been kind of echoing, AI is like a partner. Here's one thing I don't understand, Jordan. I have a question for you.
Mhm.
Colleges all of a sudden are now coming out and saying, well, we have detectors and we don't want you using AI for this, and we don't want you using AI for this. That seems so backwards to me. To me, colleges sometimes look at things very backwards, where they should be saying, okay, AI is here. It's not going anywhere. It's just going to accelerate things. So shouldn't they be teaching the students how to use AI, what AI means? Write your own paper and then put your paper in AI to show the difference, and hand in both so we can see what things, how things are. I'm a business coach. I've started and sold companies. I've grown companies. I've reorged companies. I'm dyslexic. I love to write, but I have teams of editors that write for me. So what's the difference of ChatGPT helping me out with a sentence versus my editor? Really nothing. So my question to you is, how should schools be dealing with AI? Should they be inviting it, or should they be pushing it away?
Yeah, I think it should be invited. And the reason why is like, I'm a firm believer that ChatGPT will help. Like even for our website content and blogs, we
Yeah,
use ChatGPT. But like you still need the human element for the fine line, one sentence, and making that
correct.
meaningful content. Like I think AI's got a long way to go to fully understand all that context, right? And maybe
Right.
that's like a wrong take from my end, but I think there's just a human element that will always be required in writing and
Yeah.
words.
You
And
want your personality into it. Yeah.
exactly. And for me, I think it should be invited because it's just strategy, right? Like it's, how do you get something done? How do you get something solved, right? It's thinking around the box, right? And
Yeah.
I think ultimately school, what it should be about is creating a framework of how your mind operates and thinks through things, right? When you
Correct.
see a problem, how do you solve it? And
Right.
I think ChatGPT just provides another model and another way for you to go try something else and go focus on different
Yeah.
things, right? It's just solving
Yeah.
a problem. Like,
If I were teaching a college class today, I think it would be called um, uh, simple and cheat. Simple and cheat, meaning simple, cheat, and strategy, meaning keep things simple. Use tools to not cheat. I'm using that really, but like ChatGPT to help you, because I really want to work with you on how to use your brain and your gut and your instincts to strategize, to find things that aren't there that a computer can never find. And that's what you do. And that's what a lot of the people in Power Hour do. they're finding inefficiencies in companies, and they're creating businesses to be more efficient to the consumer. So I love what you're doing. If you could teach one college class, what would it be?
Oh, good question. I think I don't know. I like your answer. I mean, for me, it would be something around philosophy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm really a believer in the framework of thinking,
Yeah.
right? Because like I like taking a notion and seeing how it's interpreted a bunch of different ways. Like for me, like the allegory of the cave is something that will stay with me forever.
Yeah.
And I think that would be the big one, right? Like taking different interesting tactics and just trying to understand the way of thinking. Because I think no matter what you do, everything is fundamentally human. And I think that's been one of the most impactful things in my life. And even from a work perspective, is like understanding, like, even if you're in product management or, engineering, you're solving a human issue. So always relating things back to humans and what you're actually solving. So
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. All right. And last question: best piece of advice you've ever received?
best piece of advice. If you are struggling with a decision, right, you typically have something that's harder in the short term, better in the long term, or harder in the short term, or easier in the short term, harder in the long term. Take the thing that's harder in the short term and better in the long run. I've never
That's
gone
great.
wrong with that advice.
Great advice. That's great advice. All right. Well, tell me when you're teaching your philosophy class. I'll zoom in. I think it'll be a great class. Jordan, tell everybody where they can connect with you, your company, and learn more.
Yeah, would love to connect with anyone. Just come to my LinkedIn, Jordan Shamir, or come to our website, yofi.ai. And just excited to connect with anyone here, and just really thankful for the opportunity. And just if there's anything I can do for the larger community, happy to do so as well.
I love it. And if there's anything I can do for you, don't hesitate to reach out. Your whole Power Hour group, I've told the same. Think community. There is a lot that can be done with AI to grow your business. And Jordan shared a ton of great stuff. As a business coach, I work with people who are successful but stuck, and I get them unstuck. I love having guests on the show like Jordan who can help people get unstuck. You shared a lot of great stuff, but I want to just extract one thing, which is always be hunting for the inefficiencies and figure out what someone is not doing so you can figure out what to do. I mean, your group, you were like, hey, how do we save the data, right? Something simple. And sometimes things are so simple, they're complicated and they're hidden in plain sight. Not to your generation. Your generation are seeing the things that older generations are missing. And I can't wait to see what all of you are all doing, years from now and decades from now, because I continue to learn a ton from all of you. My parents always raised me that you can always learn something from people older and younger. I always took that to heart. So I'm so impressed with what you're doing and what everybody's doing. I wish you all the best and congrats on everything and continued success. Think community. If Jordan can help you, tell him your website one more time, or LinkedIn.
Jordan Shamir on LinkedIn, or just yofi.ai.
All right. And if I can help you, jondwoskin.com. Jordan, thanks. This was awesome. Appreciate it.
Thank you.